My name is Leah Morris, and 6 years ago, I stole a clown's nose. Now, he wants everything else. It all started at the Ohio State Fair. I was 19, there with my boyfriend, Mark. We were drinking, laughing, eating cotton candy. We went into the circus tent called the Diva Tent, a pathetic, shabby spectacle with one skinny lion and a tired magician. But there was a clown there. He called himself Mr. Smile. He was ordinary, not naturally scary. His makeup was a little chipped, his wig was dusty. He juggled balls, which occasionally fell, and everyone laughed. At the end of his act, he obediently went down into the audience to shake the children's hands. And then he came over to our bench. He smelled of sweat, makeup, and old face powder. He handed me an inflatable flower. I playfully snatched the traditional red elastic button from his nose. The audience burst into laughter. I bowed victoriously. Mr. Smile froze. He didn't laugh. He simply stared at me with his small eyes, barely visible through the slits in his makeup. His painted smile suddenly seemed motionless, like a corpse's. Then, very slowly, without breaking his gaze, he raised his hand and rubbed the spot where his nose had been. Then he turned and walked backstage. Our laughter died down. It was awkward. We left the show. An hour later, as we were getting ready to go home, I reached into my jacket pocket for my keys and felt something soft. It was that same red nose. I tossed it in the nearest trash can. The next morning, when I opened the door, I saw it lying on the carpet by the threshold. Clean, dry. I thought it was Mark's prank. He swore it wasn't. A week later, I received my first postcard. It was an old black and white photograph of a circus clown similar to mine with a matching tear-off section. On the back, in childish handwriting, was written, "Thanks for coming back. But now I've lost something." Signed, your M.W. I chalked it up to a strange but harmless flirtation. I threw the envelope away. Then, the chance encounters began. I saw him at the supermarket. He was standing at the end of a long row of canned goods, dressed in casual clothes, but I recognized him by his eyes and posture. He simply stared. At the movie theater, he sat 3 rows away from me, and in the dim light, his face was a pale blur, turned toward me. I started to get nervous. I called Devo Circus. They told me that Mr. Smile, his real name was Edward Eddie Green, had quit right after the fair and they didn't know where he was. One night, I woke up with the feeling I was being watched. My bedroom was on the 2nd floor. Outside the window, on a branch of an old maple tree, right in front of the glass, hung a small balloon shaped like a clown's head. By morning, it was gone. But on the windowsill outside, I found a mark, a smudge of grease and paint, a mixture of grease and paint, in the shape of a trampled smile. I went to the police. The officer, after listening to my story about the clown and the nose, barely suppressed a grin. "Miss Morris, there's not much we can do without outright threats or assault. Maybe this guy is just shy, and this is his way of showing affection?" I felt like an idiot, but Mark, who had laughed at first, began to worry. We set up a camera by the door. In the very first recording at 3 a.m, a red and white clown wig floats slowly in front of the camera, mounted on something round, a ball, a pumpkin, while a quiet melodic voice sings, "I know a song that will make you cry." It was beyond the realm of possibility. We changed apartments, even moved to a neighboring town. I deleted social media, changed my phone number. 6 months of silence, I started breathing. I got a job as a librarian, and then, one ordinary day, I was checking out books when an elderly man approached me. He handed me a library card. His name was Edward Green. I looked up, it was him. No makeup, his face pale, wrinkled, with sunken eyes. But those eyes. He smiled. Not a painted smile, but his own, small, sad smile. "Hello, Leah," he whispered. "I found you. I always find what I've lost. You remember my nose, right?" I screamed. Security escorted him out. But he'd come legally, hadn't broken any rules. The police were helpless again. "He's registered with the library, Miss Morris. He has every right to do so." From that moment on, he stopped hiding. He became a shadow. He stood under the streetlight in front of my new house. He sat in his car in the parking lot at work. He never came close. never threatened me directly. He was simply present. His figure, his pale face, became part of my landscape. He sent me faxes at work. Who uses fax machines anyway? With childish drawings of clowns. He called and was silent, but sometimes the eerie, haunting music of a barrel organ would play in the background. Mark couldn't stand it anymore. He said, "He doesn't do anything, Leah. He just watches. Maybe he's disabled, autistic. You're going crazy, but I can't stand it." We broke up. Now I was alone. Utterly alone against this quiet, insistent presence. My life narrowed to a single point. Home, work, and him in between. I started keeping a diary. I recorded every visit. I photographed him from the window. I was creating a collection. I understood his rule. He didn't break the law. He was a ghost, operating within the law. And it was magnificent and unbearable. He didn't want to kill me. He wanted me to belong to his world, the world of his absurd, melancholic show, forever. The psychologist I finally consulted said it was a classic, erotomanic stalker delusion, but in a twisted, theatrical form. He believes in his legend. You are his missing prop, and his show can't go on until the prop is returned. This knowledge didn't help. It only gave the nightmare structure. The climax came on my birthday. I locked myself in the house and turned off the phone. At midnight, the doorbell rang. I didn't answer. It rang again and again, melodiously, insistently. I went to the peephole. No one was at the door. I sighed with relief and went to the kitchen to get some water. On the table lay a small, elegantly wrapped gift with a bow. Inside was a box, and there was no nose. In it was my library card, which I had lost a month ago, and my favorite silver pendant, missing from my bag at the gym, and a lock of my hair, neatly tied with a ribbon. He was in my house. He wandered around here while I slept or was at work. He touched my things, he cut my hair, and then I saw something else on the table, an old, tattered photograph. In it, a young man in a clown suit was hugging a woman. It was him, Eddie, but about 20 years ago. And the woman, she had my eyes, my face shape. I had never seen her before. I ran out of the house. I drove, not paying attention to the road, until I found myself in an old, abandoned park on the outskirts. I sat in the car, shaking, and then a figure appeared in the headlights. Mr. Smile, in full regalia, makeup, and a bright suit. He walked slowly, with the gait of a performer entering the arena. In his hands, he carried a small dark object. He approached the hood of my car, placed the object on it, tapped his finger on the glass, and walked away, disappearing into the darkness. I hesitated before leaving. When I finally did, I saw it was an old mini slide projector. I turned it on, pointing it at the wall of the neighboring building. A blurry image appeared on the wall. It was the woman from the photograph. She was laughing. Then another photo. She and Eddie, he in makeup, kissing her hand. Then a newspaper clipping. The headline, "Tragedy in Circus Family, Clown Eddie Green's wife dies in accident." And the last slide. It was a drawing, a child's, done in colored pencils. It depicted a clown, a woman, and a little girl holding hands. The signature read, "My Family." And below, in different handwriting, older and more illegible, "She's gone. She took everything. You gave back some. Give back everything." I didn't go back. I got in the car and drove away. The next day, I went to the police with the projector, the photographs, the diary, with my entire collection. This time, they were interested. It turned out that Eddie Green's wife had indeed died. Their 3-year-old daughter had died of meningitis the year before. After their death, he went mad, but quietly, methodically. He continued to clown, but his performances became strange, melancholy, and so he began searching. He looked for his wife and other women, and when he found one even remotely similar, he began his show. They found him in a trailer on the outskirts of the former Devo Circus. He was sitting in front of a mirror, fully made up. Hundreds of photos of different women, taken with a hidden camera, lay in front of him, and one of mine, the very last one, was in the center. He was arrested, charged with stalking, home invasion, and petty vandalism. He received 3 years probation and a warning to stay away from me. Do you think this is the end? No, because I know the rules of his show. Probation is just an intermission. He believes in his legend. And in legend, the clown always finds the missing props. His show must go on. I moved to the other side of the country. I changed my name again. But sometimes in a crowd, I think I see a pale face with sad eyes. Sometimes red confetti, in the shape of a tear, falls into my mailbox. And on the day of his wife's death, I always receive a card. On it is a painted, perfect smile and nothing more. He is not a ghost. He's human. And that's the horror of it all. Because humans can wait, they can be patient. They believe that a show called Revenge, Love, or Madness can never have a final applause. It goes on forever. And once you become part of the show, your departure is only a matter of time. Mr. Smile will always find his nose and his audience in the face of one single, most important viewer, you.